Hey guys, this is my third Bible reflection. I'll try to get through this as quick as possible. So I just finished reading the book of Numbers recently, and I'll give you guys a little bit of a context of what it's talking about. It's basically documenting the journey of Moses bringing the people of Israel out of slavery into the promised land, which is Canaan. And so the 3 points that I will be sharing is number one, the sin of grumbling; number two, courage and cowardice; and number three would be the prophet Balaam. So I never realized how much of a severe sin grumbling was until I read the book of Numbers. Throughout the book, you see numerous cases where the people of Israel are grumbling, whether it's towards Moses, whether it's towards God, and God is really displeased with that, which pretty much prohibits them from entering the promised land. One incident is when Aaron and Miriam, they grumbled against Moses, saying, "Who are you to be leading us? Why can't we lead the people? What makes you so special?" And basically, God punishes them by saying, "Who are you to speak to my servant in such a way?" And they were plagued with leprosy as a result. And so that made me really examine my life. Am I in a state where I am grumbling in certain areas? And I found that it's very easy to fall into the trap of having a grumbling heart, especially when you're at school, at work, or even at church when things don't go your way. Like, do you have a grumbling heart, whether it's towards a church leader or whether it's towards something you don't agree with? And that made me really examine myself and really be cautious about where my heart is at, because I realized how much of a severe sin it is and how much it displeased God. The sin basically prohibited the people of Israel from entering the promised land, which is like, I don't know, it's just like mind-boggling how severe it is, and I never realized. So the second point that I will talk to you guys about is courage and cowardice. So as Moses brought the people of Israel in the border near the promised land, which is the land of Canaan, and he sent out spies. God commanded him to send out spies to check out the place and to see whether they will be able to take over the land. And all of the spies came back saying, "Oh, those people were like grasshoppers compared to those people. They're like giants compared to us," and they were scared and they didn't want to overtake the promised land. And the only exception was Caleb and what's his name? Caleb and Jonathan, I think. So that if so God basically tells the people, because you guys were cowards and did not trust in me, you guys will not enter the promised land. So the whole generation of the people did not enter the promised land. And he said, except for Caleb and Jonathan, because they followed me full-heartedly. And so I was thinking, man, I want to be in a position of Caleb and Jonathan, because they were commended for following the Lord wholeheartedly, and they were rewarded by being able to enter the promised land. And so if we were to apply that in my context, I would say that I am called to be like Caleb, in the sense that I am to fully follow the Lord and not be cowardly in any situation. And I realize as Christians it's easy to fall into the trap of cowardice. For example, you might be afraid of what other people might think. You might be afraid to even talk about Jesus. Like, even I struggle with the fear of what people think of me, the fear of judgment. But I realize that we are not called to be like that. We are called to be overcomers. I remember also one person who said, "There will be no cowards in heaven," which is true, because in the book of Revelation it says the cowards are basically labeled with the adulterers, the thieves, the sinners. Hold on, my thing is going to sleep right now. And so yeah, that's really something that made me not want to live my life in that state, and because we are not called to be like that. And with God, we how can we be cowardly if we have God living in us, and if God is on our side? And then nothing could come against us, and nothing could hinder us for being who we are called to be. So the third point would be the prophet Balaam, which is, I think, I'm not going to talk about that because it's taking too long. So I'll leave it at that. And thanks guys for listening, and talk to you next time. Peace.